Norway stands on the brink of a new era of wealth, with recent events and discoveries positioning it as potentially the richest country in the world. The turning point came when Russia's invasion of Ukraine led many European nations to seek alternatives for their energy supplies. Norway stepped up, becoming Europe's largest supplier of oil and gas almost overnight. This sudden demand caused a five-fold increase in Norway's petroleum exports, bolstering an economy that was already strong. The Norwegian government wisely invested these profits into their sovereign wealth fund, now worth approximately $1.5 trillion, equivalent to about $270,000 for every Norwegian citizen. But this wealth, as impressive as it is, might be just the beginning. A remarkable discovery has been made in southern Norway, near Stavanger. Beneath the earth lies a vast deposit of phosphate rock, an essential and rare mineral used in the production of fertilizers, batteries, solar panels, and electric vehicles. Until now, global phosphate supplies have largely been controlled by a few countries, with around 70% of the world's reserves found in geopolitically complex regions such as Morocco, China, Egypt, and Algeria. Norway's newly discovered phosphate reserve is estimated at an astonishing 70 billion tons, which could make Norway the largest phosphate supplier globally. The potential value of this deposit is mind-boggling, around $24 trillion, which is comparable to the estimated worth of Saudi Arabia's entire remaining oil reserves. This could elevate Norway's economic status even further, placing it in a new league of wealth. However, there are significant hurdles to overcome. The extraction of this phosphate poses technical challenges, as the deposit lies much deeper than originally anticipated, around 4,500 meters or 15,000 feet deep. Additionally, environmental concerns and the complexities of EU regulations could delay or even restrict the full exploitation of this resource. To understand the potential impact of this discovery, it's crucial to look at Norway's history. In the 1950s, Norway was already a well-off, literate, and democratic nation. Although its economy was primarily based on fish, timber, and hydroelectric power from its abundant mountains. These resources fueled the early development of Norway's economy, setting the stage for the discovery that would transform the nation: the discovery of oil in the North Sea. When oil was first discovered in the late 1960s, Norway was cautious. The government was concerned that foreign companies might monopolize the profits and that unclear maritime boundaries could lead to disputes over ownership. Despite these concerns, Norway took decisive steps to secure its interests. In 1963, a royal decree brought the North Sea under Norwegian sovereignty, and by 1965, agreements were in place with neighboring countries to respect maritime boundaries. This paved the way for oil exploration to begin in earnest. The discovery of a giant oil field in the North Sea was a game-changer. It took a few years of trial and error, but eventually, the find proved to be one of the largest oil reserves in the world, and it remains a vital source of income for Norway today. Initially, foreign companies played a major role in exploring and refining this oil, but Norway quickly recognized the need to control its resources. In 1972, the government founded Statoil, now Equinor, a state-owned company that allowed Norway to take the lead in its oil industry. Over time, Norway built up its own refineries, developed a skilled labor force, and ensured that a significant portion of the oil revenues stayed within the country. Norway's careful management of its oil wealth is often contrasted with the resource curse seen in other nations rich in fossil fuels. In many countries, such wealth leads to economic instability, less democracy, and greater inequality, as elites capture the benefits while the general population remains impoverished. But Norway avoided this fate by investing heavily in its sovereign wealth fund, ensuring that the oil profits would benefit future generations. This fund, now the largest of its kind in the world, is a cornerstone of Norway's economic stability. Today, Norway has one of the highest standards of living in the world, with a GDP per capita exceeding $100,000. The average life expectancy is among the highest globally, and the country is renowned for its generous welfare state. Yet, despite this prosperity, Norway remains focused on long-term stability. Only a small percentage of the wealth fund is spent each year, with the majority saved for the future. The discovery of the phosphate deposit could multiply Norway's wealth many times over. While current technology limits extraction to depths of 1,500 meters, the potential for future advancements could unlock the full value of this resource. If Norway manages its phosphate reserves as prudently as it has its oil, the sovereign wealth fund could grow exponentially, potentially reaching a value of over $1 million per citizen in the coming decades. However, the challenges are not just technical. The EU, of which Norway is not a member but closely associated through the European Economic Area, has raised concerns about the environmental impact of phosphate extraction. Phosphate refining is highly polluting, which is why much of this industry has moved to countries like China, Vietnam, and Kazakhstan. The EU's upcoming decisions could either accelerate or hinder Norway's ability to tap into this new resource. Should Norway overcome these obstacles, it could reshape global markets. Controlling such a significant portion of the world's phosphate supply would give Norway immense influence, similar to that of oil-rich nations. This discovery could solidify Norway's position as one of the world's wealthiest and most stable countries, securing its future for generations to come.